Thanks, Shay, for introducing us. I'm Brandon Rodriguez. I'm going to be talking about the gains and the losses that happened during the Bay of Pigs. Let's get right into it. One thing that was lost definitely was a security in our nation. People were actually, they had a right to be afraid during this time because it was starting to become the heat of the coldest war that we've ever had. So the Cold War could have happened, could have become, an actual, big full-out war. So after this, Cuba and Soviet Union strengthened their ties that were already starting to form before the invasion. So we did find out that shipments from Soviet Union to Cuba, they were actually medium-range nuclear missiles, and this in turn created the Cuban Missile Crisis. So we'll talk about that real soon. One thing that was gained was the Kennedys gained in knowledge of handling situations like this. So if this didn't happen, he probably wouldn't have handled the Cuban Missile Crisis as effectively as he did because he got some advice from CIA and military officials that were not sort of the best. So according to this article, Bay of Pigs invasion, Kennedy's Cuban catastrophe. It's from History Extra. Essentially, the failed invasion attempt made him more wary of accepting uncritically hardline advice from military and CIA. So yeah, he actually had to have hardline evidence that this could help America or the U.S. in a positive way. So that was the good thing that came out of this. It was the only good thing that came out of this. Obviously, it was an invasion. We're gonna have some casualties. So 176 killed in the Cuban army, 118 killed in the brigade that consisted of Cuban exiles that were U.S. backed up. So when they arrived, we did have 4 American casualties. They were American bombers that were shot down. The reason they were shot down is because they arrived an hour early due to time zone confusions. So this was not a good look for the U.S. because CIA had to deny that they were actually U.S. bombers, and that's pretty hard to do because the whole involvement was a big secret. For U.S. did not want any part in this Cuban affair, so the CIA had to deny it, and the U.S. had remained uninvolved until later when they came out as saying that they were actually involved. Moving on, the biggest consequences, everyone knows this, it was the Cuban Missile Crisis. This probably was the scariest time to be alive, to this date. It was the closest we have ever gotten to nuclear wipeout, pretty much. It could have been apocalyptic. To this day, it still is one of the most, closest ways we could have, annihilated each other. Another thing we lost was the U.S. lost stride to combat communism. So that helped communism spread throughout the world, especially to Cuba. And, not a lot of people looked at the U.S. for having a democratic society. They looked at it with sort of distaste. So according to this article, the Bay of Pigs' long-lasting consequences, the far more important repercussion from the whole debacle is the perception non-democratic countries had a democracy due to the incident out of distaste. The Bay of Pigs incident made the Soviet Union and its practices at the time stronger and put within a better light than previously. So people, they were starting to look at the U.S. and the democratic system as not the best way. So they looked more towards the Soviet Union. So after that, it definitely did prolong the Cold War because the Soviet Union's stronger message with that. So with that being said, those were the gains and the losses. Nothing really happened with gains. No good happened with this except for Soviet Union had a stronger message. For us though, nothing too good happened. I mean, there was some good anti-war music, like Bob Dylan created some great music during this era, but nothing other than that. It was just a bad time here. It was the Cuban Missile Crisis. But I'm going to lead it all to Jack. He's going to talk about the aftermath. So thank you.